Welcome to our digital story. We are Group 3 from Section 24. The title story that we choose is Animal Farm, written by George Orwell. The story contains 112 pages and the genre of the story is political satire. This book tells the story of a group of farm animals who rebel against the human farmer, hoping to create where the animals can be equal, free and happy. Next, we move to Animal Farm important character. Old Major. An old bull inspired the rebellion with his idea of a utopian society where all animals are free. Next is Napoleon. Napoleon is a fictional character and the main antagonist of this novel. Snowball, known for giving impassioned speech and is an instrumental force during the Battle of the Cow's Head. The last is Boxer, a large and strong cart horse. He is the hardest working animal on the farm and devotes himself ceaselessly to the cause. Boxer has two mottos, which is I will work hard and Napoleon is always right.
The theme of Animal Farm. George Orwell's Animal Farm is a political allegory about revolutions and power, through the tale of a group of farm animals who overthrew the owner of the farm. Animal Farm explores themes of totalitarianism, the corruption of ideals, and the power of language. George Orwell frames his story as a political allegory. Every character represents a figure from the Russian revolutions. Mr. Jones, the original human owner of the farm, represents the ineffective and incompetent Tsar Nicholas II. The pigs represent key members of Bolshevik leaderships. Napoleon represents Joseph Stalin. Snowball represents Leon Trotsky, and Squealer represents Vyacheslav Molotov. Other animals represent the working classes of Russia. Initially passionate about revolutions, eventually manipulated into supporting a regime that was just as incompetent and arguably more brutal than the previous one. Next, totalitarianism. George Orwell argues that any revolutions led by a small, conspiratorial group can only degenerate into oppressions and tyranny. He makes this argument through the allegory of the farm. The revolution begins with firm principles of equality and justice, and initially the results are positive, as the animals get to labor for their own direct benefit. However, as Orwell demonstrates, revolutionary leaders can become as corrupt and incompetent as the government they overthrew. The pigs adopt the human ways they once fiercely opposed, like drinking whiskey, sleeping in beds, and they make business deals with farmers that benefit them alone. Meanwhile, the other animals see only negative changes in their lives. They continue to support Napoleon and work harder than ever despite the decline in quality of living. Animal Farm suggests that totalitarianism and hypocrisy are endemic to the human conditions. Without education and true empowerment of the lower classes, George Orwell argues society will always default to tyranny. At the start of Animal Farm by George Orwell, we first met an old drunken farmer known as Mr. Jones. That night, a wise pig named Old Major brought all animals of the farm together in the barn and began announcing on how they were all being treated unfairly by man, and that in order to receive what they needed, the only option was to defeat man. In other words, those who were abusing them and treating them poorly for the wrong reasons, especially Mr. Jones, needed to be gone. To start their rebellion on getting rid of man, Snowball and all of the other animals attack and scare Mr. and Mistress Jones off of the farm. By trying to show that they were not being treated fairly, they run both of them off of the property and then plan on how they were going to start getting the farm ready to become their home, where they will be taken care of. During the Battle of Crusades, Jones and his men arrived back at Animal Farm and tried to take back control of it. However, the animals had already created a better plan for if something like this really was to happen. With this, they were able to scare the men off once again and remain in control of the farm. They found one of John's guns after the battle and decided to fire it twice a year in honor of the rebellion and the Battle of the Crochet.
Hi everyone, in this part I will tell you about the climax, funny actions and resolutions contained in this Animal Farms novel. For the climax part, after Napoleon and Snowball go head-to-head about the making of the white meal on the farm to create less work for the animals. However, Napoleon believes that it will only create more work, so he tried to get the other animals to agree with him. Later, after Snowball had been talked of throughout the farms, an attack was placed on the farm, and soon then later, the white meal was blown up. For following action part, after the white meal was blown up during the Battle of the White Mill, Boxer continued to work despite being in pain. He pushed himself until one day he collapsed due to his luck. All of the animals come running despite doing their own work in the fields and want to get Squealer for help. After the animals were told that Boxer was being sent to hospital to get better, Benjamin realized that his side of his band was for a slaughterhouse that taught all other animals. They can't call out the Boxer to get out of the band because he was being sent and taken to his death. For the solution part, as the pigs began walking in two legs, they decided it was time to discuss further measures for the farm's future. So that night, the other animals on the farm watched from outside of the farmhouse inside to see what was going on. They could not differentiate the pigs from the humans as they were drinking beer and playing cards. This symbolized that they could not tell who was what and who held what power anymore. Both Napoleon and Pilkington pulled out the ace of spades, which is impossible, which implies that one of them was cheating.
Moral value that we can get from this novel Animal Farm is, first, to stop animal abuse. In the story, animals start to rebel against Mr. John because they can endure animal abuse that Mr. John put toward them. The unfair treatment that given by Mr. John to the animal was the beginning of their rebels to be treated equally. Second, blind obedience is a main cause of brainwashing. In the novel, all the animals in the farm just follow everything that the pigs told them to do, even though they can feel the thing was wrong. For example, they know the 7th commandment was changed, but they just continue to ignore and do nothing about it. Third, even if the leader seems smarter, that doesn't mean what they do is best for you. In the novel, the animal from the farm elected the pigs to be the leader because they were smarter. At first, the pig was doing a good job and cared about other animals, but then realized that all the animals listen to them without thinking and just follow whatever they ask. And that was when they start to abuse their power. Fourth, being an uneducated person can make you easily manipulated. Other than pigs and dogs, only few of the animals can read. Because of their ignorance to education, it makes them easily deceived and manipulated. Last moral value from this novel is, lawmakers are sometimes the lawbreakers. Over time, Napoleon changed all of the 7 commandments which were created to keep the animal humble and on equal footing, to allow the pig to enjoy prohibited privilege and comfort. For instance, when the pigs moved into the farmhouse, Napoleon amended the commandment about not sleeping in the bed to read, animals shall sleep in the bed with sheet. Napoleon changed other commandments as well so the pig can wear clothes, drink alcohol, and even kill other animals.
In this story, there are many privileges. There are many morals and lessons in this story. The privilege that are found in this story is, firstly, the story is told using animal characters. This will appeal to readers, especially among children. By using animal characters, the story becomes even more interesting. This is because when using animal characters, the reader will find it easier to remember the storyline and what it wants to convey. The story wants to convey the importance of act. For example, people will treat us like how we treat them. This term is about the farmer who treats his animal very worse and without mercy. Therefore, his animal had planned something. My favorite part in this book is when the story reaches the climax. This is because I cannot wait to see what will happen next. The second thing is when some animals begin to change and show their true temperament, also behave towards each other. Lastly, when they having a meeting together and singing their own song after the meeting done, it shows enthusiasm and cooperation that they create.